I came home early from work and found my boyfriend sitting in my living room with his ex-girlfriend. He told me it was his cousin visiting from out of town. Now he's saying I overreacted by asking them both to leave. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm crazy or if something else was happening. My name is Sarah. Or maybe I should start differently. I don't know. I've been trying to write this down for 3 days now and I keep deleting everything. My hands are shaking. I'm drinking coffee even though it's almost midnight. The apartment is too quiet. I've been dating Tom for 18 months. Maybe closer to 2 years. I can't remember exactly when we started calling it official. Was it after that dinner at his friend's place or before? I think before. But my memory gets fuzzy about timelines. Always has. I write things down in my planner but then I forget to check the planner. We don't live together. He has his place across town. I have my apartment. A 1-bedroom on the 4th floor. The elevator breaks sometimes. There's a weird stain on the ceiling in my bathroom that looks like a dog. Or maybe a cloud. Tom said it looks like a cloud. I see a dog. He has keys to my apartment. I gave them to him. When was that? 6 months ago. Maybe 7. It seemed like the right thing to do. He was staying over most nights anyway. Coming over after work. Using my shower. Leaving his toothbrush in the holder next to mine. The blue one. Mine is pink. I work in marketing. Mid-sized firm downtown. My cubicle is near the window, which is good because I like natural light. Bad because it gets cold in winter. I keep a cardigan draped over my chair. Gray cardigan. Got it at Target maybe 2 years ago. 3 years. I don't remember. Tom works from home. Something with databases. He's explained it to me probably 15 times. 20 times. Each time I nod and think I understand, but then later I realize I don't. He makes good money though. Better than me. He mentioned that once. Or twice. Or maybe I'm remembering wrong. Last Tuesday I had a presentation scheduled. Big client. I'd been preparing for weeks. My boss kept emphasizing how important this was. The client was worth maybe $500,000 in annual revenue. Or $1 million. The number kept changing in meetings. I had my notes printed out. 3 copies. 1 for me. 1 for my boss. 1 backup. That morning I got to the office early. Around 7. Or 7:15. Traffic was light. I remember that because usually traffic is terrible. I got coffee from the machine on the 3rd floor. The good machine. Not the one on our floor that tastes like pennies. Added 2 sugars. Or was it 3? I think 2. I was wearing my good suit. The black one. Not the navy one that makes me look washed out. Tom said I look washed out in navy. Or maybe that was my sister. Someone said that. I wore the black suit with the white blouse. The one without the stain. I have another white blouse with a coffee stain near the collar that I keep meaning to get dry cleaned. The presentation was scheduled for 3 in the afternoon. I spent the morning going over my notes. Practicing in the bathroom mirror. Trying to sound confident. Not too confident. My boss once said I come across as aggressive when I'm too confident. Or maybe she said assertive. There's a difference. I think there's a difference. Around 11:30 my phone rang. The client's assistant. Said the CEO had a conflict. Could we reschedule for Thursday? I said of course. She said she'd send a calendar invite. I said thank you. She hung up. I sat there looking at my printed notes. All that preparation for nothing. My boss wasn't in the office. She works from home on Tuesdays. Or Wednesdays. One of those days. I sent her an email saying the meeting was postponed. She responded with a thumbs up emoji. I thought about staying at the office. I had emails to answer. A report to finish. But I was already dressed up. Already mentally prepared for the presentation. Felt wrong to just sit in my cubicle. So I decided to go home. Work from there. Maybe take a nap. I texted Tom around noon. Maybe 11:50. Said I was coming home early. He responded fast. Just a thumbs up emoji. That was it. Usually he texts in sentences. Full sentences with punctuation. Not always periods, but usually. This time just the emoji. Maybe I should have noticed that. Maybe that was unusual. Or maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Maybe he always uses emojis. I can't check because I deleted our text thread. After everything happened. I deleted it. Went through my phone and deleted all our conversations. His contact is still in my phone though. I keep meaning to delete it. Haven't yet. I left the office around 12:30. Told my coworker Michelle I was leaving. She asked if the presentation was canceled. I said postponed. She said that's frustrating. I agreed. She went back to typing. I grabbed my bag. The leather one. Brown leather. Got it at Marshall's on sale. It has a broken zipper on one of the inside pockets. The drive home was quick. Traffic was light. Lighter than usual. Or maybe it was normal for that time of day. I don't usually leave at 12:30, so I don't know what's normal. I listened to the radio. Some talk show about gardening. Or cooking. One of those topics. I wasn't really listening. Just needed background noise. I parked in my usual spot in the garage. Level 2. Space 47. I'm not supposed to have an assigned spot, but I always park there. Everyone in the building has their unofficial spot. The guy in 3B gets annoyed if someone takes his spot near the elevator. I've seen him circle the garage waiting for it to open up. Took the elevator to the 4th floor. The elevator smells like cleaning solution. Industrial cleaning solution. The kind that makes your eyes water. I held my breath. Or tried to. You can only hold your breath for so long. Got to the 4th floor. Walked down the hall. My apartment is at the end. 4D. I could hear voices when I put my key in the lock. Tom's voice. And another voice. A woman's voice. They were laughing about something. I turned the key. The lock sticks sometimes. You have to jiggle it. I jiggled it. The door opened. I called out hello. The voices stopped. Just stopped completely. Silence. Then Tom called back saying, "Hey babe, didn't expect you home so early." His voice sounded normal. Or did it sound weird? I can't remember now. I've replayed that moment so many times in my head that I don't know what's real memory and what I've constructed after the fact. I put my bag down by the door. Next to the shoe rack. The shoe rack I got from IKEA. Tom helped me assemble it. We argued about the instructions. He said we should do it one way. I said we should do it another way. Turns out I was wrong. The shoe rack is slightly wobbly because we had to take it apart and redo it. I keep meaning to fix it. Haven't yet. I took off my shoes. The black heels. The ones that hurt my feet after about 3 hours. I'd been wearing them for 5 hours. My feet were killing me. I rubbed my left heel. There was a blister forming. Or maybe it was already formed. I couldn't tell without looking. Walked down the little hallway. My apartment has this weird layout. You come in the front door and there's a mini hallway before you get to the living room. The previous tenant painted the hallway beige. Or maybe it's tan. I can never tell the difference. The living room is white. Or off-white. The lease said I couldn't paint, so it stayed white. Tom was sitting on my couch. The gray couch. The one I got on sale at Bob's Discount Furniture. It's not real leather. Faux leather. It's already starting to peel on the armrest. On the other end of the couch was a woman. Long dark hair. Dark brown. Or black. I couldn't tell in the lighting. She was wearing jeans. Blue jeans. And a green sweater. Or was it blue? I think green. Forest green maybe. Her shoes were off. Sitting on the floor next to the couch. Black boots. Ankle boots with a small heel. They looked expensive. Leather. Real leather probably. Not like my couch. Tom stood up when I came in. He was wearing jeans too. And a gray t-shirt. The one with the small hole near the collar. I'd offered to sew it. He said he liked it. Gave it character. Or maybe he said personality. One of those words. He said, "Sarah, this is my cousin Jessica from Portland. She's in town for a conference." I said I didn't know you had a cousin in Portland. I don't think I knew Tom had any cousins. He'd mentioned his parents. His brother Jake. Jake lives in Boston. Or Baltimore. One of the B cities. But never cousins. The woman smiled at me. Said, "It's so nice to finally meet you. Tom talks about you all the time." Her voice was friendly. High-pitched. Or normal-pitched. I don't know. I'm not good at describing voices. She had good teeth. Very white. Probably whitening strips. Or professional whitening. Mine are kind of yellow. I've thought about whitening strips but never bought them. I asked what kind of conference. She said marketing. I said that's what I do. She said I know. Tom mentioned it. What a coincidence. She works for some tech startup. I didn't catch the name. She said it but I wasn't really listening. Something with a Z in it. Or maybe X. One of those trendy startup names that doesn't mean anything. We all sat down. I sat in the armchair. The blue armchair that doesn't match the couch. I got it at a yard sale. $5. The cushion is lumpy but it's comfortable if you sit in the right spot. Tom and Jessica stayed on the couch. Same positions. Same distance apart. We made small talk. Jessica asked about my day. I said I'd had a presentation canceled. She said that's frustrating. I agreed. Tom asked if I wanted water. I said no. He got up anyway. Went to the kitchen. Came back with a glass of water. Handed it to me. I took it. Held it in my lap. Jessica asked how long Tom and I had been together. I said about 18 months. She said that's wonderful. Tom sat back down on the couch. Same spot. He picked up his phone. Put it down. Picked it up again. He does that when he's nervous. Or bored. Or both. I can never tell. I asked Jessica how long she was in town. She said just until tomorrow. Her conference was only 2 days. Wednesday and Thursday. Or Tuesday and Wednesday. I think she said Wednesday and Thursday. Tom said he'd offered to show her around since she'd never been to the city before. That made sense. I mean, if my cousin was visiting, I'd probably do the same thing. Show them around. Take them to dinner. Normal cousin things. But I don't have cousins. Or I do, but I never see them. They live in California. Or Oregon. West Coast somewhere. We're not close. I asked where they'd been. Tom said they'd just been hanging out here. At my apartment. Catching up. I asked what they talked about. Tom said family stuff. Jessica nodded. Said they'd been reminiscing about childhood. Family reunions. That sort of thing. I don't remember Tom ever mentioning family reunions. Maybe he did and I forgot. I forget things. My sister says I should see a doctor about it. I keep meaning to make an appointment. Haven't yet. Jessica's phone rang. She looked at it. Said excuse me. Stood up. Walked toward my bedroom. I heard her say hello. Her voice got quieter. Couldn't hear what she was saying. The bedroom door didn't close all the way. It sticks. You have to push hard to get it to latch. Tom and I sat there in silence. I drank some water. It was lukewarm. The glass had been sitting on the coffee table. I asked Tom when Jessica had gotten here. He said around 11. Or maybe he said noon. I can't remember. I should have written it down. I asked if they'd had lunch. He said no. They'd been planning to grab something soon. I asked if I was interrupting. He said no. Of course not. This is your place. You can come home whenever you want. He laughed when he said it. Or maybe he didn't laugh. Maybe he just smiled. I can't picture it clearly. Jessica came back into the living room. Sat down on the couch. Said sorry about that. Work call. I said no problem. She picked up a glass of water from the coffee table. Took a sip. Put it back down. The glass left a ring on the table. I keep meaning to get coasters. Haven't yet. I asked Tom if he wanted to order dinner later. He said actually Jessica and I were planning to grab something in a bit. You're welcome to join if you want. The way he said it felt off. Like he was being polite but didn't actually want me to come. Or maybe I'm reading into it. I do that sometimes. Read into things that aren't there. I said no, that's fine. I have work to catch up on anyway. Which was true. I did have emails to answer. A report to finish. Or start. I hadn't actually started it yet. It was due Friday. I had time. Jessica said we should all go out together sometime. Maybe when she visits again. I said sure, that sounds nice. Didn't mean it. Probably she didn't mean it either. That's what people say. Polite things they don't mean. We should grab coffee sometime. Let's do lunch. I'll call you. No one actually calls. They left around 3. Or 3:15. I wasn't watching the clock. Tom kissed me on the cheek. Said he'd text me later. Jessica waved goodbye. Said again how nice it was to meet me. I said you too. Closed the door behind them. Stood in the hallway for a minute. Maybe longer. Trying to figure out why I felt weird about the whole thing. Nothing bad had happened. Tom had family visiting. He was being a good cousin. That's normal. People have family. Family visits. This is normal. But something felt off. Can't explain what exactly. Just a feeling in my stomach. Like when you know you've forgotten something but can't remember what. That nagging feeling. I went to the couch. Sat where Jessica had been sitting. The cushion was still warm. I could smell perfume. Floral. Or fruity. I'm not good at identifying scents. Something sweet. There was a hair on the cushion. Long dark hair. I picked it up. Threw it away. The water glass was still on the coffee table. 2 water glasses. Tom's and Jessica's. I picked them up. Took them to the kitchen. Washed them. Dried them. Put them away. Wiped down the coffee table. The water rings came off easily. I tried to work on my emails but couldn't focus. Kept thinking about Tom and Jessica. About how comfortable they'd looked on my couch. About how they'd stopped laughing when I came in. About the way Tom had been fidgeting with his phone. Maybe I was overthinking it. I do that. Overthink things. My therapist said I catastrophize. Turn small things into big things. I haven't seen my therapist in 3 months. For months. I keep meaning to schedule an appointment. Haven't yet. Around 4 I called my sister. She didn't answer. I left a voicemail. Said call me back. She texted an hour later. Said she was at yoga. Would call after. I said okay. She called around 6. I told her about Tom and Jessica. About the weird feeling. She said I was probably just stressed about the presentation. That I was reading into things that weren't there. I said maybe. She said Tom had never given me a reason not to trust him. I said that's true. She said then don't create problems where there aren't any. She was right. Probably. Tom had been faithful as far as I knew. Never given me reason to doubt him. So why was I doubting him now? Because his cousin visited. Because they were alone in my apartment. Because something felt off. But feelings aren't facts. My therapist said that. Feelings aren't facts. Just because something feels wrong doesn't mean it is wrong. I needed to remember that. That night Tom texted. Said he'd had a great time showing Jessica around. That they'd gotten dinner at some Italian place downtown. Carmine's. Or Giovanni's. One of those Italian restaurant names. He didn't invite me to join them. Maybe he forgot. Or maybe he wanted time alone with his cousin. That's normal. People want time with their family. I asked if he wanted to come over. He said he was tired. Would see me tomorrow. I said okay. Added a heart emoji. He sent back a heart emoji. We do that. Send heart emojis. It's our thing. Or it used to be. He hasn't been sending them as much lately. Or maybe he has and I'm misremembering. I spent the rest of the night trying to work. Answered maybe 3 emails. Started the report. Wrote 2 paragraphs. Deleted 1. Kept 1. Saved it as a draft. Closed my laptop. Watched TV for a while. Some show about house flipping. Or house hunting. One of those house shows. I wasn't really watching. Just needed background noise. Fell asleep on the couch around 11. Woke up at 2. Went to bed. Couldn't fall back asleep. Lay there thinking about Tom and Jessica. About how they'd been sitting on my couch. About the perfume smell. About the long dark hair. About how Tom had said she was his cousin from Portland. About how I'd never heard of a cousin from Portland before. Maybe I had heard about her and forgot. I forget things. Family names. Stories. My sister gets frustrated with me. Says I never pay attention. Maybe she's right. Maybe Tom had mentioned Jessica before and I just didn't remember. Or maybe he hadn't. Maybe this was the first time. But why would that be weird? People have family members they don't talk about all the time. I have cousins I never mention. The ones in California. Or Oregon. I don't even know their names. Or I do, but I'd have to think hard to remember them. Wednesday morning I woke up feeling anxious. That tight feeling in my chest. Like something bad was going to happen, but I didn't know what. I took a shower. Long shower. Hot water until it ran cold. Got dressed. Black pants. White blouse. The one without the stain. Brushed my teeth. My toothbrush looked lonely next to Tom's blue one. I got to work around 8. Or 8:15. Traffic was normal. Bad but normal. Michelle was already at her desk. I said good morning. She said good morning. Asked how I was. I said fine. She went back to typing. I tried to focus on work. Finished the report. Or mostly finished it. Sent it to my boss. She responded saying good job. I felt nothing. Just emptiness. Around 10 I did something I'm not proud of. Opened Facebook on my phone. Searched for Jessica and Tom's last name. Morrison. Tom Morrison. Jessica Morrison. Found nothing. Then I just searched Tom's name. Scrolled through his photos. Most were recent. Pictures of us. Pictures of his apartment. Pictures of food. He posts a lot of food pictures. I don't know why. Nobody cares what you had for dinner. Scrolled back further. 2 years. 3 years. Found a photo from 3 years ago. Tom at a party. Birthday party maybe. There were balloons. His arm around a woman. Long dark hair. Same hair as Jessica. I zoomed in. It was her. Same face. Same smile. Same everything. The caption said happy birthday babe with a heart emoji. Posted by someone named Jessica Morrison. I clicked on the name. The profile was private. Couldn't see any photos. Just the profile picture. A picture of a dog. Golden retriever. Or yellow lab. I can never tell the difference. I sat there staring at my phone. Trying to understand what this meant. Tom had lied to me. Jessica wasn't his cousin. She was his ex-girlfriend. Or she used to be his girlfriend. 3 years ago. Maybe longer. My hands were shaking. I put my phone down. Picked it up again. Looked at the photo again. Tom's arm around Jessica. Both smiling. Both looking happy. The timestamp said 3 years ago. September. Or October. I couldn't see the exact date. I stood up. Went to the bathroom. Locked myself in a stall. Sat on the toilet fully clothed. Tried to breathe. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. That's what my therapist taught me. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. My phone buzzed. Text from Tom. Said good morning. Hope you're having a good day. Added a coffee emoji. I didn't respond. Stared at the message. Read it 3 times. 4 times. Trying to find hidden meaning. There was no hidden meaning. Just good morning. Just a coffee emoji. I waited 2 hours. 3 hours. He didn't text again. Finally I texted back. Said we need to talk. He responded immediately. Said what's wrong? I said I know Jessica isn't your cousin. Long pause. The 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Disappeared. This went on for maybe 2 minutes. Finally he called. I answered. Didn't say hello. He said Sarah. I didn't respond. He said okay yes Jessica is my ex. But they broke up 3 years ago. They're just friends now. He said he didn't tell me because he thought I'd get weird about it. I asked why he lied. Why he said she was his cousin. He said because he knew I wouldn't be comfortable with them hanging out. That it was easier to just say she was family. I said that's not how relationships work. You don't lie to avoid uncomfortable conversations. He said he didn't think it was a big deal. That nothing happened between them. They just caught up. Talked about old times. I said that's not the point. The point is you lied. He said I was overreacting. I asked if I could trust anything he'd told me. He said he'd only lied about this one thing. Everything else was true. I said, how do I know that? He said, because I'm telling you. I said, but you lied about Jessica. He said that was different. I asked how it was different. He said it just was. I said that's not an answer. He got quiet. I could hear him breathing. Or maybe it was my own breathing. I couldn't tell. He said, look, I'm sorry I lied. But you're making this into a bigger deal than it needs to be. I said you brought your ex-girlfriend to my apartment and told me she was your cousin. He said, when you say it like that, it sounds bad. I said it is bad. He said I was being unreasonable. That I was twisting the situation. I said I wasn't twisting anything. I was stating facts. He lied. He brought his ex to my apartment. He made me feel crazy for sensing something was off. He said I wasn't crazy. That he understood why I was upset. But that I needed to calm down. I said, don't tell me to calm down. He said, see, you're getting emotional. I said I have a right to be emotional. He said this is exactly why he didn't tell me. We went in circles. Him saying I was overreacting. Me saying he'd broken my trust. Him saying it was just a small lie. Me saying lies aren't small. Him saying I was being dramatic. Me saying I was being rational. Finally I hung up. He called back. I didn't answer. He called again. I turned my phone off. Sat at my desk staring at my computer screen. Michelle looked over. Asked if I was okay. I said fine. She didn't look convinced. I left work early. Around 3. Told my boss I wasn't feeling well. She said feel better. I drove home. Traffic was terrible. Took 45 minutes. Usually takes 20. I listened to music. Loud music. Couldn't tell you what songs. Just noise. Got home and sat in my car in the garage for maybe 20 minutes. 30 minutes. Just sat there. Staring at the concrete wall. Space 47. My unofficial assigned spot. Some graffiti on the wall. Initials. J+M. Or J+W. I couldn't make it out. Finally went up to my apartment. Tom was sitting outside my door. On the floor. Legs stretched out. He stood up when he saw me. Said we needed to talk. I unlocked the door. He followed me inside. He said he was sorry for lying. That he should have told me the truth. But he insisted nothing inappropriate was happening with Jessica. They were genuinely just friends. Old friends. I asked why Jessica came to visit. He said she was in town for a conference. That part was true. She'd reached out to him to catch up while she was here. I asked how often they talked. He said not very often. Maybe once every few months. Few times a year. I asked to see his phone. He said no. That was an invasion of privacy. I said if nothing inappropriate was happening he should have no problem showing me. He said it was the principle. That trust goes both ways. I asked what that meant. He said he trusted me. Never checked my phone. Never questioned where I was. I should trust him too. I said I did trust him. Until he lied to me. He said it was one lie. I said one lie is enough. We argued for maybe an hour. 2 hours. I lost track of time. He kept saying I was being unreasonable. That I was making a big deal out of nothing. That lots of people are friends with their exes. I said I didn't care if he was friends with his ex. I cared that he lied about it. He said I was splitting hairs. I said I wasn't. There was a clear difference between being friends with an ex and lying about who that ex was. He said I was being pedantic. I said I was being clear. Finally I told him I needed space. To think. He said how much space? I said I don't know. A few days. Maybe longer. He said that wasn't fair. That I was punishing him. I said I needed time to process. He said fine. Left without saying goodbye. I sat on the couch where Jessica had been sitting. Where Tom and Jessica had been sitting together. My couch. My apartment. Used for their catching up. Their reminiscing. Their whatever it was. I called my sister. Told her everything. About the Facebook photo. About Tom admitting Jessica was his ex. About the lies. She said I should break up with him. That lying about an ex was a huge red flag. I said maybe I was overreacting. She said I wasn't. She asked if I really believed nothing had happened between them. I said I didn't know what to believe. That's the problem with lying. Once someone lies you can't trust anything they say. Even when they're telling the truth. Especially when they're telling the truth. That night I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying the conversation with Tom. The argument. His insistence that I was overreacting. His refusal to show me his phone. The way he'd called it a principle. What principle? The principle of privacy. Or the principle of hiding something. I thought about Jessica. About her long dark hair. Her expensive boots. Her friendly smile. Her high-pitched voice. The way she'd said it's so nice to finally meet you. Tom talks about you all the time. Did he talk about me? What did he say? Did he tell her we were having problems? Were we having problems? I thought we were fine. Before Tuesday. Before Jessica. We were fine. Or were we? Maybe I'd missed signs. Maybe there had been distance. Maybe Tom had been pulling away and I hadn't noticed. Or I had noticed and ignored it. He'd been less affectionate lately. Hadn't he? Or had he always been like that? I couldn't remember. Memory is tricky. Changes based on what you know now. Rewrites the past to fit the present. Thursday morning I called in sick to work. Couldn't face going in. Couldn't face Michelle's concerned looks. My boss's expectations. The presentation that was rescheduled for today. I texted my boss. Said I had food poisoning. She said feel better. Said she'd handle the presentation. I felt guilty. The presentation was important. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't stand in front of clients and act professional when my entire life felt like it was falling apart. Dramatic. My sister would say that's dramatic. Maybe it was. Maybe I was being dramatic. Tom texted around 9. Said good morning. Asked if we could talk. I didn't respond. He texted again an hour later. Said he missed me. That he was sorry. That he wanted to fix this. I didn't respond. I spent the day on the couch. Watching TV. Not watching TV. Staring at the screen. Some talk show. Then a cooking show. Then the news. I couldn't tell you what any of it was about. Just needed the noise. My phone kept buzzing. Tom calling. Tom texting. I turned it off eventually. Couldn't deal with it. Took a shower. Long shower. Stood under the hot water until my skin turned red. Got out. Got dressed. Same black pants. Same white blouse. Sat back on the couch. Around 3 there was knocking on my door. Tom's voice. Sarah. Sarah, please. I need to talk to you. I didn't move. More knocking. Sarah, I know you're in there. Your car is in the garage. Please just open the door. I sat there. Frozen. Didn't want to talk to him. Didn't want to see him. Didn't want to deal with any of it. The knocking stopped. I heard him sit down outside the door. Heard the floor creak. He was sitting there. Outside my apartment. Waiting. I don't know how long he stayed. An hour. 2 hours. Eventually I heard him stand up. Heard footsteps walking away. Silence. I turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls. 23 text messages. I didn't read them. Deleted them all. Called my sister. She answered on the first ring. Asked how I was. I started crying. She said she was coming over. I said okay. She arrived 30 minutes later. Brought wine. We sat on the couch. The couch where Tom and Jessica had sat. She poured 2 glasses. I drank mine fast. She poured another. I told her everything. About Tom waiting outside my door. About the missed calls. The text messages. She said he was love bombing me. I said what's that? She explained. When someone messes up and then overwhelms you with affection. Trying to make you forget what they did wrong. I said that made sense. She asked what I wanted to do. I said I didn't know. Part of me wanted to forgive him. To move past this. We'd been together 18 months. Almost 2 years. That's not nothing. But part of me couldn't get past the lying. The bringing Jessica to my apartment. The gaslighting when I'd sensed something was wrong. My sister said I needed to trust my gut. That my gut had been right. Something had been off. I'd felt it immediately. That feeling in my stomach. That nagging sense. I'd been right to feel that way. She stayed until midnight. Left me with the rest of the wine. Said to call if I needed anything. I said thank you. She hugged me. Said I deserved better. I said I know. Didn't know if I believed it. Friday morning I woke up on the couch. Still wearing yesterday's clothes. My phone was buzzing. Tom calling. I answered. Don't know why. He said thank God. He'd been worried. Thought something had happened to me. I said I'm fine. He said we need to talk. I said I don't want to talk. He said please. Just give me 5 minutes. I said fine. He said he was coming over. I said no. He said he was already in the parking garage. I hung up. Looked around my apartment. It was a mess. Wine glasses on the coffee table. Tissues everywhere. I'd been crying. When had I been crying? I didn't remember. Picked up the tissues. Threw them away. Put the wine glasses in the sink. Knocking on the door. I opened it. Tom standing there. He looked terrible. Hadn't shaved. Dark circles under his eyes. Rumpled t-shirt. The gray one with the hole. He said, "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. He walked to the living room. Sat on the couch. I sat in the armchair. The blue one with the lumpy cushion. We sat in silence. Finally he said, "I'm sorry." I didn't respond. He said, "I know I messed up. I know I shouldn't have lied. I just didn't want you to get the wrong idea." I asked what the wrong idea was. He said that there was something going on between me and Jessica. I said, "Was there?" He said, "No. Absolutely not." I asked, "Then why lie?" He said, "Because he knew I'd be upset if I knew the truth." I said, "So you lied to protect my feelings?" He said, "Yes." "No." He said, "I don't know." I asked if Jessica knew he had a girlfriend. He said yes. I asked if she knew he'd lied about who she was. He said no. She thought I knew. I said, "So you lied to both of us?" He said he didn't lie to Jessica. Just didn't correct her assumption. I said, "That's still lying." He put his head in his hands. Said he didn't know what to do. That he'd messed everything up. That he was sorry. So sorry. I sat there watching him. Feeling nothing. Or feeling everything. I couldn't tell. I said I don't think I can do this anymore. He looked up. Said what do you mean? I said I don't think I can be in a relationship with someone who lies to me. He said it was one lie. One mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I said it wasn't just the lie. It was everything underneath it. The lack of respect. The willingness to deceive me to avoid discomfort. The gaslighting when I'd sensed something was wrong. All of it. He said I was being unfair. That I was throwing away 18 months over one mistake. I said almost 2 years. He said what? I said we'd been together almost 2 years. Not 18 months. He said does it matter? I said it did to me. He started crying. Actually crying. Tears running down his face. Said he loved me. Didn't want to lose me. Would do anything to fix this. I asked if he'd show me his phone. He said what? I said show me your phone. Prove there's nothing to hide. He hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. The hesitation. He said fine. Pulled out his phone. Unlocked it. Handed it to me. I looked through his messages. Found Jessica's contact. Scrolled through their conversation. It was mostly innocent. Hey, how are you? Good, how are you? That sort of thing. But then I found something from a few weeks ago. Jessica saying she'd be in town next month. Asking if they could meet up. Tom saying definitely. Let me know when you're here. No mention of me. No mention of his girlfriend. Just let me know when you're here. Like he was single. Like I didn't exist. I kept scrolling. Found more messages. From months ago. Jessica saying she missed him. Tom saying he missed her too. Jessica asking if he ever thought about Portland. Tom saying sometimes. Jessica asking if he'd ever consider moving back. Tom saying maybe someday. I handed the phone back. He asked what? I said you've been having an ongoing conversation with your ex about maybe moving back to Portland. He said it was just talk. I said it didn't sound like just talk. He said he'd never actually move back. That he was happy here. With me. I said then why say maybe someday? He said because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. I said so you'd rather hurt mine? He said that wasn't fair. I said none of this was fair. That he'd been having conversations with his ex about missing each other. About him maybe moving back to be closer to her. While dating me. While living in my city. While using my apartment to meet up with her. He said I was reading too much into it. That they were just friends catching up. I said friends don't say they miss each other like that. He said I was being jealous. I said I was being rational. We argued for another hour. Same circles. Same arguments. Him saying I was overreacting. Me saying I wasn't. Finally I said I think you should leave. He said we're not done talking. I said I'm done talking. He said please don't do this. I said I already did. He stood up. Said he'd give me a few days. Let me cool off. Then we'd talk again. I said there's nothing more to talk about. He said I didn't mean that. That I was just upset. I said I meant it. He left. I sat on the couch. Same spot. Same cushion. Tried to feel something. Relief. Sadness. Anger. Felt nothing. Just empty. Like someone had scooped out my insides and left a shell. The weekend was a blur. My sister came over Saturday. We ordered takeout. Watched movies. She slept over. Slept on my couch. Sunday she left. Said to call if I needed anything. I said I would. Didn't call. Monday I went back to work. Michelle asked if I was feeling better. I said yes. She said I looked tired. I said I hadn't been sleeping well. She said she had melatonin if I wanted some. I said thanks. Didn't take it. Work was fine. The presentation had gone well on Thursday. My boss said the client was happy. Said she'd handled it. I said thank you. Felt guilty. Should have been there. Wasn't. Tom texted that afternoon. Said he'd given me space. Asked if we could talk. I said no. He said please. I said I meant what I said Friday. We're done. He said I didn't mean it. I said I did. He stopped responding. That night I got a text from an unknown number. Said this is Jessica. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Didn't know what to say. Finally texted back asking how she got my number. She said Tom gave it to her. That made me angry. He'd given his ex my number without asking. But I was also curious what she wanted. So I said okay. She asked if we could meet for coffee. I said when? She said tomorrow morning. I said fine. We met at a Starbucks downtown. She was already there when I arrived. Sitting at a corner table. Same long dark hair. Different outfit. Blue dress. Or navy. I can never tell the difference. She smiled when she saw me. I didn't smile back. I ordered coffee. Black. No sugar. Sat down across from her. She said thank you for meeting me. I didn't respond. She said she'd been thinking about what happened. About the situation. About Tom lying. Said she felt bad. I asked if she'd known Tom had a girlfriend when she came to visit. She said yes. Tom had mentioned me. I asked if she'd known he'd lied about who she was. She said no. She'd assumed I knew. That Tom had told me the truth. I asked about their relationship. She said they dated for almost 3 years. Met in college. Dated until Tom moved here for work. She hadn't wanted to do long distance. They'd broken up. Stayed friends. I asked if she still had feelings for him. She paused. Said honestly she didn't know. That seeing him again had brought up old feelings. But that she was engaged to someone else now. Getting married in 4 months. I asked if Tom knew about the engagement. She said yes. She told him. He'd seemed happy for her. Or he'd seemed something. She couldn't tell. I asked if he'd ever said he wanted to get back together. She said not explicitly. But there had been moments. Things he'd said. Ways he'd looked at her. That made her wonder. We talked for maybe an hour. By the end I believed she was telling the truth. That she genuinely hadn't known about Tom's lies. That she'd thought everything was normal. That Tom and I had a healthy relationship where exes being friends was okay. She apologized again. Said she hoped I was okay. I said I'd be fine. She said she was calling off the engagement. I said what? She said seeing Tom had made her realize she wasn't ready to get married. That she had unresolved feelings. That it wouldn't be fair to her fiancé. I didn't know what to say to that. Said I was sorry. She said don't be. Said it was better to figure it out now than after the wedding. I agreed. We finished our coffee. She hugged me goodbye. I didn't hug back. Walked to my car. Sat in the driver's seat. Tried to process what had just happened. Jessica was calling off her engagement because of Tom. Because seeing him had brought up old feelings. Which meant Tom hadn't just been friends with his ex. There had been something there. Something real. And he'd lied about it. Brought her to my apartment. Let her sit on my couch. In my space. While knowing there might be feelings there. While having his own feelings. Maybe. Probably. Drove home. Traffic was terrible. Road construction on the main highway. Sat in traffic for 40 minutes. Listening to talk radio. Some show about politics. I wasn't paying attention. Just needed noise. Got home around noon. Tom's car was in the parking garage. In a visitor spot. Not space 47. That was mine. He was sitting on the floor outside my door. Stood up when he saw me. Said we needed to talk. I said no. He said Jessica called off her engagement. I said I know. He said because of him. I said I know. He asked if we could go inside. I unlocked the door. He followed me in. Sat on the couch. Same spot. I sat in the armchair. He said Jessica had called him. Said she talked to me. Said she was ending things with her fiancé. That she had feelings for him. Wanted to see if there was still something there. I asked what he'd said. He said he'd told her no. That he was with me. That he loved me. I asked if he meant it. He said yes. I asked if he had feelings for her. He paused. Said honestly he didn't know. That seeing her had been confusing. But that he chose me. He wanted to be with me. I said that's not good enough. He said what do you mean? I said choosing me isn't the same as wanting me. He said he did want me. I said but you have feelings for her. He said he didn't know if he did. I said the fact that you're not sure is the answer. He started crying again. Said he didn't want to lose me. That he'd made mistakes but he wanted to fix them. I said some things can't be fixed. He said don't say that. I said it's true. Told him about the messages I'd seen on his phone. About him saying maybe someday he'd move back to Portland. About them saying they missed each other. He said it didn't mean anything. I said it meant everything. Said he'd been having an emotional affair with his ex while dating me. Maybe not physical, but emotional. And that was just as bad. Maybe worse. He said I was exaggerating. I said I wasn't. Told him to leave. Give me my keys back. He said no. Please. I said now. He pulled the keys out of his pocket. Set them on the coffee table. I didn't pick them up. He stood there looking at me. Waiting for me to change my mind. I didn't. He left. I locked the door behind him. Sat on the floor in my hallway. The beige hallway. Or tan. Couldn't remember which. Sat there for a long time. Maybe an hour. Maybe longer. Just sat. Eventually got up. Went to my bedroom. The door still didn't close right. Still stuck. I didn't push it hard enough. It stayed half open. Lay on my bed. Fully clothed. Shoes still on. Stared at the ceiling. The ceiling was white. Or off-white. My phone buzzed. Tom calling. I didn't answer. He called again. I turned my phone off. Lay there in silence. Could hear my neighbor's TV through the wall. Some game show. Lots of clapping. I closed my eyes. Fell asleep fully dressed. Woke up at 3 in the morning. Still dark outside. Got up. Changed into pajamas. Brushed my teeth. My toothbrush looked lonely. Tom's blue toothbrush was gone. He must have taken it. Or I'd thrown it away. Couldn't remember. Went back to bed. Couldn't fall asleep. Lay there until my alarm went off at 6:30. Got up. Showered. Got dressed for work. Black pants. White blouse. Same as always. Work was fine. Michelle asked if I was okay. I said yes. She didn't look convinced. My boss asked about the client. Said they wanted to move forward. I said that's great. She said I should be happy. I said I am. Didn't feel happy. Didn't feel anything. That afternoon my sister called. Asked how I was. I said fine. She said I sounded weird. I said I was tired. She asked if I'd talked to Tom. I said yes. He'd come over. I'd ended things for real this time. She said good. Asked how I felt. I said I don't know. Empty maybe. She said that's normal. The next few weeks were strange. Went to work. Came home. Watched TV. Slept. Repeat. Tom stopped texting. Stopped calling. I'd see his car in the parking garage sometimes. Different visitor spots. Never space 47. Figured he was seeing someone in my building. Maybe moving on. Good for him. My sister kept checking in. Asking if I was okay. I kept saying yes. She kept not believing me. Finally she said I should see my therapist. I said I'd make an appointment. Didn't make an appointment. Around week 3 I got a message on Facebook. From Jessica. Said she wanted to update me. Said she decided to work things out with her fiancé. That she'd been honest with him about Tom. About the unresolved feelings. He'd been hurt but wanted to try. Said she told Tom. That they couldn't be friends anymore. That it wasn't healthy. That he'd understood. Said she hoped I was doing well. I didn't respond. Deleted the message. Week 4 I finally made an appointment with my therapist. First available was 2 weeks out. I took it. Marked it in my calendar. The calendar I never checked. Probably I'd forget. But I tried. Week 5 I saw Tom in the parking garage. He was getting into his car. I was getting into mine. We made eye contact. He looked away. Got in his car. Drove away. I sat in my car. Space 47. Watched him leave. Realized I didn't feel anything. No sadness. No anger. No relief. Just nothing. Maybe that was healing. Or maybe that was avoidance. My therapist would probably say avoidance. When I eventually saw her in 2 weeks. If I remembered. Week 6 I finally threw away the stuff Tom had left at my apartment. The book he'd been reading. Some spare chargers. A pair of socks. All in a trash bag. Left it by the dumpster in the parking garage. Felt good to purge him from my space. Or felt nothing. One of those. Week 7 my sister set me up with her coworker. Said I needed to get back out there. I said I wasn't ready. She said I'd never be ready. Just had to do it. I agreed to coffee. Nothing serious. Just coffee. His name was Mike. Or Mark. I can't remember. He was nice. Worked in finance. Or accounting. One of those money jobs. We talked about work. About the city. About nothing important. He asked if I wanted to get dinner sometime. I said maybe. Gave him my number. He never called. I didn't care. Week 8 I went to my therapy appointment. My therapist asked how I'd been. I said fine. She said I'd missed our last several appointments. I said I'd been busy. She said that's what I always said. I said because it was always true. She didn't look convinced. We talked about Tom. About the breakup. About how I'd been coping. I said I was fine. She said I said that a lot. I said because I was fine. She asked what fine meant to me. I said not sad. Not angry. Not anything. She wrote something in her notebook. Asked if I'd been feeling numb. I said maybe. She said numbness was a defense mechanism. A way of protecting myself from feeling too much. I said that sounded right. She said we should work on that. I said okay. Didn't make another appointment. Week 9 I realized I'd stopped thinking about Tom every day. Now it was every other day. Or every few days. Progress. Maybe. Or maybe just time passing. Time makes everything fade. Good and bad. Week 10 I ran into Jessica at the grocery store. She was in the produce section. Looking at apples. I almost walked away. But she saw me. Waved. I waved back. She came over. Asked how I was. I said fine. She said she'd been thinking about me. About everything that happened. Said she was sorry for her part in it. I said it wasn't her fault. She said she still felt bad. I said don't. Life is complicated. She agreed. Said she'd gotten married last week. Small ceremony. Just close family. I said congratulations. She said thank you. Asked about me. If I was seeing anyone. I said no. She said I seemed good though. Seemed happy. I said I didn't know about happy. But I was okay. She said okay is good too. We talked for a few more minutes. Normal stuff. The weather. The grocery store remodel. Then she left. I watched her walk away. Her long dark hair. Same hair as that first day on my couch. Felt nothing. Maybe that was progress. Month 4 I deleted Tom's number from my phone. Should have done it sooner. Didn't. Finally did. Felt nothing. Or felt relieved. One of those. Month 5, my lease was up. Decided to move. New apartment. Different building. Fresh start. My sister helped me pack. Asked if I was running away. I said no. Just ready for something new. She didn't look convinced. New apartment was nice. 1 bedroom. 5th floor. Elevator didn't break. No weird stain on the ceiling. Fresh start. Clean slate. All those cliches that people say but don't mean. Except I maybe meant them. Month 6, I started dating someone I met at yoga. His name was James. He was honest. Straightforward. When he said he'd call, he called. When he said he'd be somewhere, he was there. Basic things. But they mattered. Told him about Tom eventually. About the lying. About Jessica. He said that sounded awful. Asked if I was over it. I said mostly. He said mostly isn't completely. I said I know. He said that's okay. Take your time. Month 9, I completely forgot about Tom for an entire week. Didn't think about him once. Or if I did, it was so brief I didn't register it. Progress. Real progress. Month 12, I saw on Facebook that Tom had moved back to Portland. Someone posted a photo. Tom at some bar. Portland in the background. Caption said welcome home. I felt nothing. Scrolled past. Looked at cat videos instead. Year 2, I married James. Small ceremony. Just close family. My sister was my maid of honor. She cried. I didn't cry. Felt happy though. Or content. One of those positive emotions I'd forgotten how to feel. Year 3, my therapist said I'd made real progress. Said I seemed different. More present. More myself. I said I felt different. She said good. We scheduled our next appointment. I actually showed up. Year 5, I barely remembered what Tom looked like. Had to think hard to recall his face. His voice. The way he'd looked sitting on my couch next to Jessica. It all felt like it happened to someone else. Like a story I'd heard rather than lived. But I remembered the feeling. Of knowing something was wrong. Of being gaslit when I trusted my instincts. Of being lied to. That feeling stayed sharp. Stayed clear. And I remembered choosing myself. Choosing truth over comfort. Trusting my gut even when someone told me I was wrong. That memory mattered most. Because that choice had changed everything. Had set me on a different path. Where honesty mattered. Where I didn't have to question whether what I felt was real. Where my instincts were trusted. Including by me. Sometimes people ask me if I regret how I handled things with Tom. If I wish I'd given him another chance. Work through it. I say no. I don't regret it. That lie about Jessica wasn't just about Jessica. It was about everything underneath. The willingness to deceive. The gaslighting. The lack of respect. All of it incompatible with the kind of relationship I wanted. The kind I have now with James. Built on truth. On trust. On mutual respect. Tom had taught me what I wouldn't tolerate. And that was worth something. Worth everything, really. The ability to walk away from something wrong. Even when it's hard. Even when part of you wants to stay. That's strength. That's growth. Tom and Jessica could have whatever they wanted. Could be happy or miserable. It didn't matter anymore. Didn't affect me. I'd built something better. Something real. Something mine. And that was enough. More than enough, actually. That was everything.